Check me out. So we're live. Hey, look, the president, the big thing today, one of the big things today here in Chicago, is the president said, guess what? I'm going to send troops. I'm going to take care of Americans living in Chicago. They should not have to live in fear because of their zip code. Now, I used to say the same thing. As I told you, Donald Trump is the white Charles Butler. I used to say the same thing about gun control. Why do I have to disarm myself and acquiesce to criminals because I live in Chicago and because the power structure in Chicago decided that they would support the criminals rather than law-abiding citizens? And what used to piss me off is that law-abiding citizens, and especially the black intelligentsia or the black elites or whatever you want to call these morons who run around perpetrating that they're somehow more important than other black folks, is that we can't do anything about the crime. We can't do anything about the killings because it'll put more black men in jail. I mean, these people used to actually say this. I used to get them on my show, and they'd say, "Well, we really don't know how to address the issue of black on black crime or gun violence because we'd be putting more black men in jail." How fucking stupid is that? I mean, these people are absolutely morons. We'll put more black men in jail who are out here committing crimes. Like somehow it's okay to commit crime. Let me say this about that, by the way. The Fraternal Order of Police was talking the other day. They were talking about all the guns they've taken off the street. But more importantly, that these people who they've taken the guns from who were in illegal possession of guns. See, this is the thing you have to understand about Chicago. They support criminals and they try to oppress law-abiding citizens. Do you understand this? This is what Democrat administrations do in urban cities. They support drug dealers. They support lowlifes. They support low-class people. They support these women out here having babies out of wedlock. They support anything that's anti-progressive in terms of, I'm not talking about progressive in terms of liberal attitudes. I'm talking about attaining a piece of the American dream. So why would you give a 15-year-old girl food stamps and an apartment who had a baby? She was irresponsible in the first place. So now she's 15, she has a baby. She turns 17, she has another. She says 19, she has 3 babies and no husband and 3 baby daddies. Who wants to deal with a woman who already got 3 babies by 3 different men that you got to look at every day? And white people expect, like, somehow, especially these judges. Man, these white judges in these family courts, they need to be taken out and horsewhipped. Yeah, exactly. They need to be taken out and horsewhipped. Some of the things that they do to black men in these courts, they mess over white men in these courtrooms and making up their own laws. But they really mess over black men. Like, you'll have a guy who walks into a situation, enters into a relationship with a woman who has, say, 2, 3 kids. Then they have 2 or 3 kids together. And this guy, he's working his ass off. But at the same time, his chick, his wife or his girlfriend, maybe they didn't get married. His wife or his girlfriend, she out here giving booty to everybody. She out here just laying it out, having sex with everybody, promiscuous as all get out, okay? And getting high. And not taking care of home and spending money. And the judge would come in and say, well, Mr. Brown, you have to take care of 5 children because you're the only father that they know. He said, but Your Honor, I only have 2. I only have two children with this woman. Well, you you took on you. It's implied that you're the father. It's implied that you're the father figure for these other three, and we're going to just treat them as if they're yours. Well, what about their daddies? Man, I tell you, I could do I could do 5 shows on that family court system down there. These people need to be literally put on a rail and ran out of town. They're horrible, especially when it comes to adjudicating cases that involve black men. I had my own case down there in divorce court, and this white woman was wanted to make up her own rules, and told me she was gonna screw me. Told me that I'm gonna make sure that you pay your attorneys because I used to be an attorney and I know what it was like being trying to get paid. Well, she was a poor attorney from what I understand, and she's a piss poor judge, and I dogged her ass in front of all her people. Dogged her. Yes, indeed. Made her cry. She was so angry. But anyway, President Trump. President Trump announced that, hey, I'm going to send the troops into Chicago to make it a better place for these people to live. They shouldn't have to live the way they live because they live in Chicago. They shouldn't have to live in fear. Wow. I'm telling you, that alone, that issue alone is going to get Trump black votes. I guarantee you. Because black people have been saying that for a long time. Why won't anybody come help us? Well, black politicians won't, because if you don't have the chaos, you don't have the confusion, then people will see that they're not doing their damn jobs. And they're not. They collect a check every 2 weeks. You cannot point out one black legislator, city, state, or federal level, that's a mover and shaker and that's not sucking on the Democrat liberal LGBT tit, LGBT illegal immigration tit. Hello. Hey, look, I'm going to open up the phone lines for those of you who'd love to call in and comment. Let's see here. So I'm going to open up the phone lines. And that number is 215-867-8255. That's 215-867-8255. Yeah, man. So this is the president saying, hey, because you live in a zip code, you shouldn't have to fear for your life if you walk down the street. I love it. Listen. Wow, what a novel idea. I'm specifically thinking in my mind right now, what comes to mind for me, because I used to work on the South Side, is 83rd and King. And why 83rd and King? Well, 83rd and King has a lot of black police officers and middle class and upper class people that live in that area. And I remember a young man was shot in the face. I want to say his name was Cheatham, but I just can't come up with it. I know one thing: he had a finance sister. Oh, she was fine. But the son, and the father had been a cop. The son got shot in the face because a gangbanger or some guy came up and tried to take his motorcycle. He was showing off a new motorcycle. No, it's not. It wasn't Cheeto. What was that man's name? But I used to have he and his wife come on my show. His wife was totally devastated that her beautiful, loving son, who'd gone to Iraq and come back, joined the police force, was now dead, killed in his driveway, shot in the face in his driveway. And he identified himself to the guy. He said, "Hey, man, I'm a Chicago cop." And the boy pulled out a gun and shot him. He identified himself as a cop, and the boy pulled out a gun and shot him. What happens to the death penalty? Why are we? This is the thing. See, this is the thing about this capitalist system. This is the thing about this criminal justice system. When you know a guy is guilty, when you know a guy committed a crime, fry his ass. Why are they on death row for 20 years? Why are they on death row for 15 years, spending the taxpayer money? Why do criminals deserve three meals a day? Why do they deserve a warm place to sleep? They don't. If you think that this is inhumane, I know guys, and I listen to them. I don't really know them, but I listen to them, I should say. I've heard men, black men, talk about the joint like they were in service in the military. They locked up. If they're having sex, they getting booty. And they think they're not homosexuals. They're having sex with men and they think they're not homosexual. See, that's the mentality of a criminal. They're ignorant. And some people need to be eradicated from our society. And I'm saying to you and anyone else that violent black men, when it's been proven that they are violent. See, that cop who killed Floyd was a pussy. He was a pussycat. He just laid down and let the guy, take him on out. But there's some guys who had probably shot a couple of cops and probably had shot a couple of civilians. And on his way to being incarcerated. Fry him. Lethal injection, what the hell ever. Put him in a room, back a car up, put a holes in, tape the window up, give him about 30 minutes. See what happens. I can good goddamn tell you, they won't survive that. Yeah, but my favorite go-to is, get a boat, put some fried chicken on it, some 40s, take it out to the middle of Lake Michigan and sink it. Let it out. Hey, see if you can swim. And I'm sure the people who make it back will have found God. If they make it back from Lake Michigan, they will be changed people. But anyway, the president is very clear that these people deserve better, that we deserve better. And I know exactly what he's talking about because I know people who over on 83rd and King, there's a park over there, beautiful park, but the people they have to be out of the area and in their homes before the street lights come on. Because the boys will come by there shooting. Now, what I want to do is go set up in a sniper's nest, put it up in a tree, and when they start shooting their windows out, start shooting them. It's not rocket scientist stuff here. These people don't have to wait on the police. They can organize themselves. That's what white people do. It's called vigilantism. And by the way, we have vigilante laws on the books. People don't really want to talk about that, but we do. It's like citizens arrest. Here in Chicago, man. Oh my God, you can't have citizens arrest. Why can't you if you're a law-abiding citizen? Hello? Why can't you if you're law-abiding citizen? Have a citizen's arrest? The president, though, I'm sure that he has a lot of people feeling very, 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 very happy with his statement. And let's play the rest of it. Let's go. Wow. I mean, is this unusual? Is this groundbreaking? Yeah, it is for Chicago because the politicians say, "Oh, those are just animals. Leave those animals alone." And that's how they police us, like animals. I remember when white people moved out of my neighborhood and black people moved in, and the police refused. They refused to uh, police the neighborhood and rein these Negroes in. They were lawless. They disturbed the peace. They were ignorant, and the police would just look at them and dare you, law-abiding citizen, to do anything. See, that's the game they play. They keep our hands tied. Black men like me, they keep our hands tied. That's the power structure. That's white liberals. They don't want black men and women like me to speak out about this nonsense and this thing is being passed as being black. As being black. Yeah, there is such thing as being a black American, but it's not about ignorance. It's not about ebonics. It's not about your hair in braids. It's not about having tattoos on your body. It's not about having a crazy ass name that's all misspelled. Hello. Hey, I could go on and on and on and on. It's horrible. Horrible what has happened to Black America. And we have nobody to blame but ourselves for allowing it to happen. It's just like drugs. Who in the hell wants to put some damn drugs in their arm just because it's there? I have a very close friend who's a psychiatrist. And she claims, well, it's the availability. It's the availability that drives drug use. Well, interestingly enough, most uh, law enforcement and clinicians, psychologists, historians, they agree it's about the availability, the access to drugs that drives people to buy drugs. I'm not buying any of that stuff. I'm not putting any of it in my arm at any time. And Lori Lightfoot, I'll call her Stalin Lightfoot, because we have so many people killed here. And she didn't seem to mind that, as long as there's not a white cop involved. As long as it's black on black, she don't care. In fact, in fact, one of her aldermen, a Hispanic alderman, tried to tell her that he had some racial issues in his neighborhood, and she told him he was full of stuff. No, she like S, fill in the two letters T, okay? And she said that to this guy, and he was so taken aback. You could hear him fumbling for a second, and then he said, "F you," because he was telling the truth that the gang members were attacking blacks in their neighborhood, trying to get blacks to stay out of their neighborhoods, supposedly, so that they wouldn't burn, riot, whatever. So a young black woman got caught over there about 4 weekends ago, and they drug her out of the car and beat her. She was pregnant. They drug her out of the car and beat her. These Hispanic boys. So I heard that the Latin Kings called the black gangs and said, "Look, we don't want a war. We're going to deal with these two guys ourselves. They're new, but they should have known better. We're going to deal with it." So I'm sure those young men aren't walking on this side of, of the earth. I mean, they messed up because the guys were like, "Hey man, we have a code. We don't beat women. We don't, and we certainly don't beat pregnant women." Look, so I'm gonna play Lightfoot talking about the troops coming here and the agent. She knows she can't stop it, right? So she's trying because she's been. We don't want to You can keep your federal troops, their Gestapo. There's nobody more Gestapo. No more Gestapo than these people on the south and west side of town that are killing folks randomly. Let's play this real quick. It is right, and it's there. It's there, but we're gonna play Lori Lightfoot right now. Let's play Lori. Come on. Let's see here. Lori Lightfoot. Amazing, I can't. There she comes. Here she comes. Here she goes. Lori Lightfoot. Nobody's going to deny them their constitutional rights. She's lying. But that's what she does. She lies all the time. She's a lesbian at the end of the day. What do you expect? She has to deceive. She lives a life of deceit, and immorality. Okay. So the president went on to say that in the end, Lori Lightfoot said, in the end, we very much want to partner with an executive branch that respects our city, inclusive of all residents. Lightfoot wrote in a letter to Trump earlier this week, partnership includes respect that you have not shown our residents as of late in mocking the level of violence that challenges Chicago. I mean, what's mocking? Mocking how? I mean, there's no mocking here. People are dying. Forget you, Lori. You need to do your damn job. But you don't know how to do your damn job because you're confused. You're a confused person. You have mental issues. So, Lightfoot, in a press conference shortly after President Trump announced that he was sending troops here, said that she condemned, and there's a little clip. She condemned the intervention in Portland, and but she clarified that she expected the additional agents being sent to Chicago to integrate with the existing DEA, ATF, FBI personnel already based on the city. That's not going to happen. They have their cases, they have their payload, they have their workload. These guys are coming in to focus on the criminals, the crime, the killing. If that doesn't get Trump reelected, I don't know what will. So, I was just looking to see if I missed something that A.G. Barr had said. A.G. Barr is a good guy. I've said that before. I think he's an excellent compliment to the president. He's certainly what we need right now, whether it's standing up to Pelosi. He told Pelosi she was talking about subpoenaing him and arresting him, and he said, did you bring your handcuffs, Madam Speaker? That's what he said. Tell you. Wednesday. While others want to defund, defame, and abolish the police, I want to support and honor our great police, said Trump. Wow. Yeah, this is a heady day. This is a good day for pro law and order people. This is also a good day for um, Kate Brown. Wow, that city is, oof, man, Portland, it's up there. You know, I'm just thinking about the Bonneville, Bonneville Power, what it's called. Spend a little time up there working with Bonneville Power. Man. I was flying from San Diego up to Portland was almost the equivalent of flying from San Diego to Chicago in terms of distance and time. It's a true story. So, as the president and Lori Lightfoot go back and forth at it, the president is also going back and forth with Lynn Cheney. Oh, Lynn. I like Lynn. She's an interesting chick. True politician, though. She turned on her sister, said, "Hey, girl, I can't support your lesbianism publicly, but I support you privately to do what makes you happy. But I have to come out totally anti LGBT in gay marriage, especially to win this office." And that's what she did. So Liz is upset with the president in a number of ways for a number of reasons. But the most important is ending these never ending wars that we're in overseas, these so called interventions. If you look at, what's his name? Joe Biden's stock options, this guy probably has 4 or 5. You'd have to look it up. You can look it up on his K10, but I'm sure he has millions of dollars worth of stock in, yeah, what was it called before they went overseas? Oh, it's not management. It's not waste management. It was, oh man, drawing a blank. They moved from the U.S. to Saudi or to Dubai. Halliburton. Halliburton. Yeah, Halliburton. So Cheney, Cheney never stopped getting a salary from Halliburton. He was making $30 million a year. So even he was with Bush for 8 years, he still made over $250 million. What do you do with $250 million? Lord, I love to find out. But Liz and President Donald Trump have been going back and forth with each other, and Matt Gaetz, has been coming after Liz because he's tired of her being the lone wolf and acting out. So she, let's see here, University of Chicago. Wow. Yes. So Gates came out on, he's a Republican from Florida. He came out on Liz Cheney and he says, look, Liz has worked behind the scenes and now in public against President Trump and his agenda. House Republicans deserve better as our conference chair. Liz Cheney should step down or be removed. Mega. Then Donald Trump responds and he says, Liz Cheney is only upset because I've been actively getting our great and beautiful country out of the ridiculous and endless wars that and I'm also making our so-called allies pay tens of billions of dollars in delinquent military costs. They must at least treat us fairly. What a novel idea. At least treat us fairly. He said that 6 hours ago. President said that this morning. And then Liz Cheney, of course, she said earlier, a couple of weeks ago, last week, she said a very important decision by the UK to block Huawei and protect the UK 5G network and data from spying by the Chinese Communist Party. Huawei blocked. This is her tweet. Huawei blocked. Tech must be shipped from UK's 5K network by 2027. Wow, strips. Okay. That's what you get for putting it up without checking. Yes, I couldn't get conscious past this one. Like Clinton and the Cray computer. Like Clinton eliminating GAD. Liz Cheney. She serves as the U.S. representative U.S. representative. She Liz Cheney, U.S. representative from Wyoming. So she's married, and she has Liz Cheney Perry. Should be her name, Liz Perry. She went to the University of Chicago, so she was here in Chicago for a couple of years, and is married and moving right along. Good for her. Good for you, Liz. Stop beating up on my president, though. It's not going to get you anywhere. We need to end these endless wars. But you know, her father's stock keeps growing, so therefore her stock keeps growing. Hello. Apple doesn't fall far from the trees. Apple doesn't fall far from the trees. You know? Now, how could a lefty left of left talking against talking? And I'm thinking, it's amazing, man. It's amazing that Liz, the Halliburton needs these wars. That's how they get rich. Black water that's been renamed. They need these wars. That's how they get rich. The guy who ran Blackwater, I learned, was Liz Cheney's brother. What's his name? Is Eric. I want to say Eric Spring or something like that. But his name is Eric. Head of Blackwater. Liz Cheney's brother. All these folks are connected, you know. Elon Musk, Tesla. Let's get away with that. Blackwater founder. Eric Prince is the guy's name. Bessie DeVos. Interesting. Wow. So we covered Liz criticizing the president. We covered the president sending agents to Chicago. And now I think we'll talk a little bit about the state of coronavirus. We're finding out now that in Florida, a number of cases were misdiagnosed. We find that some people didn't even take the test, and they were ruled HIV or COVID positive. I didn't take the test. One lady lost her job. She's going to be on TV tonight. Lost her job behind testing positive for COVID. She never took the test. That's how crazy this becomes. I'm just listening here. This This noise is getting louder and louder outside. I'm gonna have to go down and call the police, get it dealt with. As soon as I get off the air, it'll be done, I'm sure. Um, but yeah, that's one of the things that's happening out here, man. It's been a tough and interesting uh, go around, fighting the lies of the left, fighting the lies of people who get paid. People are being paid in this pandemic. The government is spending billions and billions of dollars to fight COVID and to provide, extra help, extra money for cleaning utensils. All of this stuff costs money. And a lot of it's coming from our government. So this morning I read that the US passed 4 million known infections. I just told you. Florida discovered that many of their uh, infections were bogus. Amazing, right? So, they say about 30 million workers are collecting unemployment benefits. Some people say they're making more money working from home than they are trains and planes. It's amazing. It's like Groundhog's Day, the movie. The virus and testing labs again. They lack key supplies to do the proper testing. It's amazing. But the inaccuracy, the lies that go on to follow the money. You have to follow the money. That's all this is about, following the money. Climate change, follow the money. There's no such thing as climate change, not in reality. And if there were going to be climate change, why wouldn't we be all icing over now or flooding out now? Granted, some lakes have reached all-time high in the city, but that's good. We obviously needed the water. I think they were going to go to rationing water and still rationing water. Anyway, I get down here and I really kind of get into another zone when you get downtown because it has a different vibe than the rest of the city. So this morning I'm watching television and they start talking about this shooting that took place downtown on North Wabash. Now that's not too far from me. And so I asked some of the guys over at the hotel, what it was all about. They said, well, it happened. One guy told me it happened over the weekend. No, it didn't happen over the weekend. It happened last night. They said the police have released video of a downtown shooting that left a Maywood man dead and a woman injured. So I didn't say this. So in the video, they said a group of people can be seen walking on the Wabash Avenue Bridge. A few of them appear to look across the street as a man wearing black pants and a black shirt pulls out a gun. Moments later, the man opens fire, and another man behind him appears to pull out his own gun and fire shots as well. People on the bridge can be seen ducking, dropping to the ground as the shooting unfolds. A 35-year-old man, 25-year-old woman were traveling in a vehicle when the gun shots erupted. It's going to be hard to prove because it doesn't look like these people got a good look at these guys. But they had video. They had video. So the man who was shot in the neck, his name was, he was taken to Northwestern right down the street. He died there. His name was Gregory Crawford. And the woman was struck in the arms and taken to the same hospital. And they were trying to identify these hardcore criminals, man. I told you, man, they have no technology where they needed to be. There's no reason to have all these cops on the north side of the night, no cops on the south and west side. It's just not good planning. It's not good strategy. And again, it goes back to what the president said. You get policed by what zip code you live in. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I was just looking through an ABC clip here, and they had Lloyd Bridges, the old Sea Hut guy. Lloyd Bridges, his sons went on to become kind of A-class actors. He was always kind of a B guy. I always wanted to go swimming with him like that. Go swimming in the water. Oh, my poor parents. They didn't know what to do with us. We were an adventurous group, my brothers and I. Totally adventurous. Okay. So, what's going on in New York City? De Blasio is still screwing the city up. The cops are angry. People are unsafe. Crime's going up. And de Blasio's talking smack. They just let Mike Cohen out of jail, citing retaliation over his tell-all book. Excuse me. And he's going to. We'll see what Mike does. Cohen, got busted, going down. He can't make this stuff up. He got out on coronavirus. They let him out of jail because they thought he might contract coronavirus. But they put Maxwell, Epstein's wife, back in jail or in jail, never to get out. She was denied bail. Interesting. It's kind of, when you think about it, it's kind of inundating that supposedly spikes are going up. It's in where the virus is sending people to hospital. In Chicago, it's 16 per 100,000. New York is 4 per 100,000. In what's that city? It's not Chicago. I think this is. Can't come up with it. Looks like Mississippi. Looks like it's Jackson. They have a spike in COVID-19 per 1,000. Corpus Christi has 107 per 1,000. Corpus Christi is not that big, but it has an Air Force Navy base there. Rio Grande Valley, 190. Turn them around. Rod said, let them in. Let them in. You know they won't leave. You can't make it up, man. You can't make it up. Can't make it up. I tell you, Sounded like I was going to yawn then, didn't it? Yeah, I felt like it. So there's a great piece in the Times today if you like a little satire. But I think they were trying to be serious, but I consider it satire. It starts out like this. Nice White People is a new podcast from Serial Productions brought to you by the New York Times about a 60-year-old relationship between white parents and the public school down the block. We know that American public schools do not guarantee each child education. 2 days later, the um, it's crazy. I don't know, but nice white parents. So this podcast is supposed to talk about the relationship between white parents and the public school down the street, and 2 decades of school reform initiatives that have not changed the unequal education. But they said when we look at how our schools are failing, we usually focus on who they're failing, Black and brown kids. We ask, why aren't they performing better? Why aren't they achieving more? And Shana Jaffe Walt is a producer for the award-winning public radio show This American Life. It's a pretty good show too, where Shana originated her reporting for what eventually became Nice White Parents. It's good. Well, in 2015, Shana teamed up with the reporter Nicolay Hannah Jones to deliver stories about education and school segregation, which they won the Peabody Award. In addition to the education coverage, the, the so they won the Peabody Award in addition to education coverage. Shana's reporting on sexual harassment, including the Rashomon style American Life episode, Five Women. It offered a new frame to understand the wave of Me Too. Five Women is currently being adapted into a TV series. Go ahead on. It's great. Me Too, Me Too folks. Wow. Me Too folks. Three, you have to be careful when you go on fishing trips. I touched on this a little bit yesterday. There's a guy, he and his brother, I guess, sit in the car, pick these other two guys up in pickups. And so when they stop the car, they get out. They want to swill some beer, but they want to get the guys who hot right in the back, sucking dust for the last 30 miles. They want to give them anything to drink. So a little killing went on. These guys have been charged. Been charged in the massacre of three friends during a Florida fishing trip. Imagine that. Go out fishing with your friends and you end up dead. And I'm thinking of a buddy that I would go fishing with. I just couldn't imagine this guy harming me that. So, Miss Jazz, what do you see in terms of this graph? Well, I would like to figure out how that worked. If you could see those people marching. trying to get across that border. COVID. In Portland, they pushed too far. Trump's crackdown strengthened protests. Well, that's good. We'll need it. The days are long, and everything else is short. Wow. A Michigan convict, by the way, though, lost sisters to COVID 19. It looks like about 12 sisters. That's a lot in one area. It's really a lot of sisters. Hmm. See, we got, wow. I almost did this. ATT saw customer defections last month. They signed up 4 million HBO Max customers. That's what I should do. I don't have ABC anymore. I don't have AT&T anymore. I have YouTube. I don't like it though. But I do like that HBO Max. It's a hell of a system. Man, it's hot. It is hot here in Chicago. I don't know about you all the way you are, but man, it is so damn hot here. You could fry an egg on your desktop. So look, have a great one. Watch what we do here in Chicago in terms of bringing the feds in to quell this killing. There's been a lot of killing. It's got to stop. And what else? Oh, Liz Cheney. I wonder what she and Donald Trump are going to engage in this week. We still have a whole week, and these guys go at it. I mean, I mean, they don't miss a beat, man. They just be at each other. Ooh, 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 ooh. Donald saying that Lynn has issues. Lynn saying that Donald can't be a dictatorial president. Just true. He can't. But he's just POTUS. He is who he is. I just want to say, folks, hang in there, and we'll be back tomorrow. Freedom Friday. What's going on?